morning of the meeting of the Niskayuna Zoning Board of Appeals. Ms. Schicchetti, we call the roll, please.
Mr. Lateif?
Here.
Mr. Dolman?
Here.
Ms. Pacheco?
Here.
Mr. Trimarchi?
Here.
Mr. Gentile? Oh, Mr. Gentile is here. Mr. Antonikowski?
Here.
And Chairperson Hoke.
Here. Well, before we start the meeting this evening, just like to recognize a long-term member of the board who served with distinction for 17 years. Vinny Daly has decided to retire from his service on the board. I've served here with him for a number of years and have always appreciated his insights. He came from the building trades and has always been able to offer specific insight into the building trades in the application of the code, and has served with distinction on the board. So I'd just like to recognize his service here tonight. And I understand that there will be additional recognition for Mr. Daly at a town board meeting in the near future. So with that said, will you call the first matter on the agenda this evening?
Appeal by Jeffrey Palumbo, agent, to appeal the January 28th, 2025 interpretation of the planning department that a use variance is required for the proposed expansion of the pre-existing non-conforming business at 2349, 2339 Troy Schenectady Road, Niskayuna, New York, located in the R1 low-density residential zoning district. No letters were mailed out for this case.
Okay, just as a recap, with respect to this matter, the board held a special meeting on June 23rd to hear the appeal. We took oral testimony at that time from multiple witnesses, accepted written submissions before and after the hearing. The record was kept open until this meeting to accept additional submissions from the applicant. The applicant did do that on July 11th and July 16th, and it included additional affidavits that weren't originally submitted in the initial application. Before we take any further action, Mr. Palumbo, I know you are here present tonight on behalf of the appellant, correct?
I am, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Palumbo, I know it's been brought to your attention before, and I referenced Mr. Daly, who originally heard the case, is no longer on the board. Prior to this evening, we gave you the opportunity to decide whether you wanted to proceed with a 6-member board or you wanted an alternate member of the board who's reviewed all the materials to sit in Mr. Daly's place. It's my understanding that you've elected to go forward with the 6-member board. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you understand that with a 6-member board, you'll need to get 4 affirmative votes of the remaining 6 members, correct?
I do understand that. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So having had extensive opportunity for the parties to present their case, I will open it up for a brief discussion before any action. I think that this is a unique case from a procedural standpoint in that it's not a request for variance, which is the most common type of matter that's before this board. We're sitting here being asked to sit in a quasi-judicial role and make a determination whether a service station should exist at this location with a convenience store attached based upon the language in the Niskayuna zoning code. I think some basic principles that we should take into consideration: that if the code is unambiguous, we must adhere to the language in the code, and we can't add or subtract language or imply uses in the code that aren't present, and that the appellant always has the burden of proof on all factual issues that are being brought before this board. So with those principles in mind, is there anybody who has any questions or wants to have any further discussion with respect to this application before any action is contemplated? Okay. Having heard no further discussion, I am in a position, and I would, if the board would indulge me, I will make a motion with respect to this application, having reviewed all the materials. And let me just ask, just take a step back. When I recited everything for all the members that are on the board, when I recited all the materials that have been submitted to the board, including the materials that were submitted on July 11th and July 16th by the appellant. Is there anybody on the board who did not have an opportunity to review those materials? Okay, so everybody has had an opportunity to review those materials. Having said that, again, I will take the liberty, if you'll indulge me, to make a motion at this time relative to this matter. And because I've taken some time to think about this, I have written it down. So let me move forward. The issues are whether the claimed convenience store use lawfully existed at the subject premises before July 1st, 1971, when the Niskayuna zoning code became effective, such that it is a protected pre-existing non-conforming use. And secondarily, whether the use has been materially intensified since that time. There was oral presentation by counsel advocating two theories: that the convenience sales are ancillary to gas stations, and alternatively, that the convenience sales existed on the site prior to 1971. There were affidavits offered by the appellant, approximately 56 in total, of which 8 purport to address the period before 1971. Numerous others describe conditions after 1971. There was live testimony from William Leader, a town resident, and who worked at the site between 1963 and 1964. He testified to the presence of an exterior soda vending machine and an interior cigarette vending machine during that time period. He did not stock or empty the machines. He did not know who operated them. There was also live testimony from Joseph O'Brien, David Scott, and James Gamidi. None of those individuals had any knowledge of the conditions prior to 1971, although they did testify about convenience sales post 1971. The owner had no additional photographs, no information of retail licenses predating 1971, and indicated that he believed that potentially a third party operated the vending machines at the location. The applicant's, the appellant's own technical narrative and plans indicated that approximately 2,000 feet was being contemplated as an expanded point of sale area. And that was going to be a significant increase in the size of what is currently contemplated as a convenience retail operation currently serving the area. The deputy zoning enforcement officer's interpretation of the letter indicated and determined previously that it was a non-conforming use. So moving forward, the subject premises have long operated as a gasoline service station in an R1 residential district. The only firsthand pre-1971 evidence of on-site retail activity is Mr. Leader's testimony that in 1963 and 64, the location had a soda vending machine outside and a cigarette vending machine inside. Mr. Leader did not stock, empty, or manage the machines and did not know who operated them. The pre-1971 affidavits that were submitted by the appellant are general in nature and did not fix, as of 1971, the existence of a staffed, stationed, operated retail counter, inventory hours, or station holding any retail licenses that would distinguish a principal convenience store from incidental vending machines of that era. Later period witnesses did support that retail activities increased after 1971 through the present date. The owner produced no contemporaneous photographs, floor plans, or station-held retail licenses predating 1971 showing staffed convenience store operations under the station's control. And the current proposal includes a significant expanded point of sale retail operation with roughly 2,000 square feet additional space being added. The appellant, as I indicated earlier, the appellant bears the burden of proving with competent proof that the claimed convenience store use lawfully existed at the premises prior to 1971 and continued thereafter without abandonment, such that it is protected as a pre-existing non-conforming use. Separately, the code limits non-conforming use and construction that significantly expand non-conforming uses. In terms of the zoning code does not define what a convenience store is, but generally a convenience store is defined as a retail establishment that primarily sells a limited line of frequently purchased consumable goods such as beverages, snacks, tobacco, and sundries with quick transactions and extended hours. The format typically occupies under 5,000 square feet and offers several hundred or more stock keeping units. That's several hundred individual items for sale. And that definition is from the National Association of Convenience Stores, which I've borrowed for the purposes of this motion. Additionally, the government Census North American Industry Classification System identifies a convenience store and specifically distinguishes it from vending machine operators, which are primarily engaged in retailing merchandise through vending machines. The appellant, as an alternate theory, the appellant cites the proposition that a convenience store may be treated as an accessory to a gasoline service station. And they cite to the Exxon Corp v. Board of Standards and Appeals case. That case, Exxon turned on the specific language and the administrative framework of the New York City zoning resolution, which permitted gas service stations with, and in the language of the New York City zoning resolution, uses accessory thereto. Those specific words are used in the resolution. It uses accessory thereto. And on a case-by-case evaluation of whether the proposed store was customarily incidental and subordinate to the principal use. The decision does not establish a statewide rule that convenience retail is always an accessory to a gas station. Rather, it directs decision makers, this board in this case, to the text of the applicable local code and the facts of the proposed operation. Applying that to Niskayuna's code does not embed general retail sales within the treatment or definition of a gasoline service station. The record before the board identifies the site's long recognized use as a gasoline service station. The code has not been shown to define or authorize accessory uses. Therefore, the sole argument that remains is whether the retail operations predated July 1st, 1971. The weight of the evidence, and when I talk about the weight of the evidence, I would accord far greater weight to Mr. Leader's live sworn testimony, which is specific and time anchored and it was subject to questioning, than to any of the affidavits that were submitted and are general in nature and not tied to specific 1971 operational details. Mr. Leader's testimony establishes incidental vending machines existed during 1963 and 1964 and not a staff station to operate a convenience store. Even accepting the argument's sake that, for argument's sake, the two principal uses could lawfully coexist on a single lot, appellant must still prove that the retail convenience store use itself lawfully existed on this site in 1971. The affidavits that the appellants assert don't supply the 1971 anchored operational details. For instance, the station run counter, identifiable inventory, the scope of that inventory, the hours of the operation, any licenses held by the store at that time. There's no evidentiary support for the character of retail sales at the location changing from the time period between 1964 and 1971, and two vending machines alone do not make a convenience store. As the attorney for the town pointed out, many locations that would not be considered convenience stores customarily maintain vending machines, including governmental facilities, hospitals, schools, laundromats, and bowling alleys, to name a few. That doesn't transform the primary use of any of those facilities to a convenience store. there was a lot of discussion whether other gas stations and combinations of convenience stores that exist within Niskayuna are authorized or change the analysis in any way. I don't believe that any of the other locations within the town relieve the applicant of proving historical facts, and I think that the applicant, through his attorney, admitted during the hearing that in fact it really comes down to whether or not the site was used for retail operations prior to 1971. So therefore, in my opinion, a threshold evidentiary gap remains, even if there has been intensification of the retail use since 1971. That doesn't change the fact that prior to 1971, we're dealing with some vending machines at the location. The appellant has not met the burden of proving that the station-operated convenience store use lawfully existed at the subject premises in 1971. And the most probative pre-1971 evidence shows only incidental vending machines. The 1971 affidavits that were submitted were accorded limited probative value because they were general and not tied to 1971 specific operational facts, demonstrating a principal retail use under the station's control. They were considered and given that weight, in my opinion. Again, they're anecdotal, and for the most part, some of them are not even inconsistent with Mr. Leader's testimony, and some of the later affidavits actually referenced vending machines at the location. So for those reasons, I would move to affirm the interpretation of the deputy zoning enforcement officer. I would also note that the applicant has additional remedies and may seek a use variance for the site as well, moving forward. So this doesn't foreclose that opportunity for the appellant to take that route as well. So for those reasons, I make the motion as stated. I know that was relatively long-winded. So a motion has been made. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second that motion.
A motion has been made and seconded. Ms. Cicchetti, will you call the roll?
Before calling the roll, can we have some discussion on this matter first?
Yes, we can have discussion. Yes.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions. The chairman has stated that the burden is on the applicant here to demonstrate that there was that the convenience store was in use in 1971. The applicant's attorney has said that the code has to be strictly interpreted against the municipality. And I'm confused as to who has the burden of proof here. And I'm hoping we can get some clarity on that before we decide the motion.
I'll defer to the town attorney.
I see those as two separate issues / burdens. So the applicant has the burden with respect to the factual issues that are before this board, which, as Chairperson Hoke indicated, would be whether or not there was convenience store being operated prior to the zoning code being implemented. The what Mr. Palumbo had placed on the record, I believe back in June, was that when there's ambiguity with respect to the code itself, that then turns in favor I guess, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pat goes to the runner.
That's another way of putting it. So if there's ambiguity with respect to the language, specific language of the code that's being interpreted, that's resolved in favor of yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Does that clarify or answer
Yeah,
the question?
that's helpful. I guess the other concern or question I have about this is a realistic analysis of what the consequences of this motion is going to mean for the operator of this facility. So if this motion is granted or is approved and he cannot establish that there's been a convenience store at this site, he will then need to move for a use variance. the standard for granting a use variance is extraordinarily high. And just to be able to demonstrate that there's no other way he can profitably make a profit from this property. And given the location of this property is, and the value of that property, and I may be misinterpreting this, but my concern is it's going to be difficult for him to show that there's no other way for him to to be profitable on this property under the existing use, which is a residential use. And so I think we run a real risk of, if, again, this motion is approved, and you cannot demonstrate that there's a use variant, that he's eligible for a use variance, then the operation of the convenience store will have to end.
So as legal counsel, can I just interject? I mean, it would be my position that the board has to decide this particular issue without taking into consideration what the likelihood of the applicant prevailing on a use variance application. That's not one of the criteria that this board has to consider when deciding whether or not to affirm the decision of the zoning enforcement officer.
Except the chairman brought up the issue.
Well, he didn't bring up, I think he just,
Well, Mr. Palumbo, we're in the position, we're not taking any additional testimony at this time.
That wasn't testimony. It was a comment. It wasn't testimony.
Okay, or a comment, sir, for that matter, because the members of the public don't have the same opportunity to comment. So this is just for the board.
I understand. There are a lot of things that you said that require a comment.
Understood your position. Mr. Tremike.
All right, I mean, that's all the comment I have at this point. I'm still thinking about this. This is a really difficult one. And having to vote on this motion at this point is challenging for me, but doesn't mean we have to hold things up.
Well, is there further discussion that you'd like to have?
Not at the time, not right now.
So we get back to the motion being made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, Ms. Shigetti, we call the roll.
Mr. Lateef,
I'm gonna vote yes, that I support, and I think the planning department required a use variance, and as Mr. Hoke said, the only witness we had before the 1971 confirmed they were selling cigarettes and they were selling soda. And to me, that did not make it a convenience store back then. And then all the affidavits that we got after 1971, that's because they were selling stuff in there without registering. The convenience store was down. So for me, I can say the same thing as some of the affidavits that they did sell stuff. But again, it was not registered with the town until 2024, the first time that gas station was registered to, or tried to be registered to have a retail store. For all these reasons and what Mr. Hoke said, I vote yes.
Mr. Dolman,
This is a difficult one for me as well. I'm actually going to vote no on the motion. I believe that everyone else on the board here has identified the legal hurdle appropriately. However, I grant significantly more weight to the affidavits than they do. There are, including a former town supervisor who says that this was it specifically offered small food items and beverages. I would agree that I would agree that a vending machine does not make a convenience store. However, there's very specifically one of the affidavits here say prior to 1971, quote, it was like a convenience store. So I find those and other affidavits compelling enough to vote no on this motion.
Ms. Pacheco?
I vote yes on this motion for a variety of reasons, in addition to the expressions from Chairman Hoke and Board Member Latif. Part of it is related to the understanding of what convenience use is and what a service station is, what accessory uses are, et cetera. With all of the testimony and information provided by the applicant, to me, it does not provide enough burden of proof that this establishes that use. The danger that I foresee with one decision or the other is establishing two similar uses on that property. And I think the board is constrained, again, as has been discussed and clarified, that with a support given to the planning department's position, we are keeping clear what the zoning ordinances provide. For those reasons, I vote yes.
Mr. Trimarchi?
I'm also going to vote no on the motion. This is a very close call, and the evidence presented by both sides is frankly pretty weak. I think the evidence presented by the town to demonstrate that there was not a convenience store there was not compelling really at all. It relies significantly on applications and testimony presented to the town that had nothing to do with whether or not a convenience store actually existed at that site. It was on all the applications submitted related to other matters. The information submitted by the owners of the store over the years identifying the use as solely a gasoline station really isn't compelling evidence to me that there wasn't also convenience items being sold at the store at that time. I think even from my own personal knowledge, over some of the years that those materials were being submitted to the town, I visited the store and I know that convenience store items were being sold at that site as well. In addition, I think some of the affidavits, although I agree that most of them are not terribly compelling as to the uses of the facility prior to 1971, the more recent affidavits that were submitted by longtime residents indicating that their children would go buy soda and gum at the store do, in my mind, and along with Mr. Leader's testimony, are more compelling evidence as to whether or not convenient items were sold at the store prior to 1971. I appreciate Mr. Hoke's reference to certain definitions of whether or not, of what constitutes a convenience store, but I don't necessarily agree that they are binding on this board. And the real question is whether or not a convenience store of any variety was there at that time in order to support the determination that a convenience store was being operated there. And in my mind, anything other than items relating to gasoline being sold at that site would have established, or sufficient for me to establish, that the site could have been considered a convenience store prior to 1971. So for those reasons, I vote no on the motion.
Mr. Antonikowski?
Yeah, this is difficult for me as well. And while I respect the affidavits from the people of the town and everybody who submitted them, it's not as compelling to me as some of the other evidence to include prior applications, right? Prior registrations and non-conforming use registrations of the town. So although they don't date back to 1971, I'm more compelled by how the service station represented itself from 2010 to 2024. And I agree with Mr. Latif's assessment that, they did didn't really hold itself out as a convenience store until 2024. So for that reason, I am voting yes on the motion.
Chairperson Hoag.
Yes, for the reasons stated. So with a vote of 4-2, the motion was approved. And the interpretation of the town's deputy zoning enforcement officer was affirmed. Thank you. Will you call the next matter, Mr. Keddy?
Mr. Chairman, how soon will the decision be filed in the clerk's office?
Within 5 days.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to welcome Mr. Gentile.
Oh.
Mr. Tremicki, Mr. Gentile is here. I understand that you
Oh,
No.
no.
need to stay.
Yeah, we don't have the other members.
Oh, we don't have the other member? Okay. All right, sorry, Mr. Tremicki, you're still on.
We still need you, Peter, if that's okay.
It's okay, no problem.
Appeal by AJ Sign Company agent for a variance from section IF, column 7 of the zoning ordinance of the town of Niskayuna as it applies to the property at 1 Research Circle, Niskayuna, New York, located in the IR Research and Development Zoning District, to install 2 freestanding ground monument signs and 2 new wall facade signs that do not comply with town code. Schedule IF, Part 2, Research and Development, Column 7, permitted signs states for each linear foot of building frontage, 1 square foot of sign area shall be permitted. Such sign shall only be attached to the building face and shall not protrude more than 1 foot from the building face and shall be a single sign face. Under no circumstances shall any one sign exceed 50 square feet, and no more than 1 facade sign shall be permitted per property. As proposed, 1 facade sign that reads GE Aerospace plus the GE logo exists on the property, eastern building, on the main eastern building on the property. Therefore, a variance are required for 1 new facade sign that reads GE Vernova plus the GE logo, and 1 new facade sign, the actual wording to be determined at a later date. An additional variance is required for the GE Vernova sign to exceed the allowable 50 square feet by 190.3 square feet. Schedule IF, Part 2, Research and Development, Column 7, permitted signs states for sites of 5 acres or more, 1 freestanding monument sign is permitted. The freestanding monument sign shall be no greater than 8 feet in height above the finished grade. Such sign shall have a maximum area of 30 square feet in the primary driveway. It shall be the setback a minimum of 10 feet to allow for right-of-way line and side property line, and be located in a manner that does not interfere with required minimum site distance at driveways and intersections. Such sign shall be constructed of material complementary to the principal building and shall be externally lit. Content of each sign shall be limited to the identification of 1 place or 1 business. Double-face signs are permitted. As proposed, 1 freestanding monument sign that reads GE Aerospace plus the GE logo exists at the entrance at the Research Circle on River Road. Therefore, a variance is required for 1 new internally lit freestanding monument ground sign that reads GE Vernova plus the GE logo, and 1 new internally lit freestanding monument sign not located on the primary driveway that does not identify a place or business that reads "The Energy to Change the World" are required. 51 notices were mailed out, 0 responses, and Laura's going to read the planning board referral.
At a regular planning board and zoning commission meeting held on August 25th, 2025, the planning board made the following recommendation to the zoning board of appeals. Effect on the comprehensive plan. The planning board voted 6-0 that the proposed variance will have no effect on the comprehensive plan. Suitability of use. The board voted 6-0 that the variances were a suitable use. The board noted that signage variances requested were very similar to signage variances the board reviewed at their October 24th, 2022 meeting and recommended be approved by the ZBA for Momentive Performance Materials at 2750 Balltown Road. They commented the monument and facade signs are helpful in that they identify GE Vernova areas on a site that is largely a GE aerospace site, and the facade signs are far from public vantage points and have no impact on neighboring properties. The buildings are very large and the signs are proportional to the facades. They also noted that the clean, modern appearance of the signs is an important corporate branding signal to employees, investors, and partners of an industry-leading energy company. Recommendation, the planning board voted 6-0 in favor of recommending the zoning board of appeals grant the variances as requested.
Sir, can you state your name and address for the record?
Yep, I'm Tom Wheeler with AJ Sign Company in Burn Hills, New York.
So we've seen a lot of you, sir. What's the latest project here?
So this is a different GE campus. I was here before for the Balltown Road campus, but this is a very similar project. The difference, this campus is large. There's a map in the packet that shows the area that we're working on. Aerospace is also there, which is a separate area of the campus. I've actually never even seen it because I can't go there. So I'll kind of walk you through what we're asking for. The only sign that can be seen from the main road, which will be in front of the guardhouse, is a brick monument sign with reverse illuminated letters. So it's a very soft glow, just like the exactly like the Balltown sign that we proposed. Again, that's the only sign that the public can see. Then you go into the campus about 1,000 feet and you get to the building. The only people that are going to be allowed in there are people that make it past the guard check. This sign here, the building has an alcove, and so those letters are set back in off the facade, off the main facade of the building in that alcove, designed to architecturally fit in the area and be readable from the parking lot. So when people, guests, and employees pull up, they can see that that's in fact GE Vernova. Again, reverse lit, so it doesn't cast much light. It's just a soft glow around the letters. We also have, let's see what's next. A building name, just like the last campus, we don't know what the name's going to be yet. These are non-illuminated aluminum letters. So we're using this as a placeholder now for the building name. Still not sure what that will be. Next sign. So this sign, this is an interesting sign. It's more of an architectural element. It's designed to look like their fan blade on their windmills, their wind turbines. So you have the left, and then the cut in it will be the sidewalk, and then you have the right. So it's a concrete on the bottom, and then an aluminum structure to represent the blade, and then it has reverse lit letters, the energy to change the world on it. So this is right in front of the building, again, only visible from the parking lot, and really just an architectural element to represent the fan blade. And that's
With respect to the one sign that can be seen from the road, how does that differ than the signage that's presently there?
there actually is no sign there. So that when you go by that entrance, you have a road with no sign and then a guard shack. And if you didn't know what was there, you wouldn't know what it is. So this is going to be the only sign out front.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I have a few questions for you. You mentioned that currently there is no other signage that identifies the site in front of the gate, correct?
Correct.
Is there an address number anywhere?
I'm
I'm just
not-
curious as to how they get their deliveries and whatnot. They may get them through the other.
I'm actually not positive if there is an address. I didn't notice.
Okay. I do want to ask for clarification. The portion of the ordinance under 220-22 about double-faced signs. When I looked at that portion online, it said double-faced signs are allowed. So I would ask just to have that confirmed. I know it was written this way in the documentation that was sent to me and is in front of me right now. But when I looked at the town code online, it said that they were allowed. So I just want to have that confirmed. If we may be able to do that during the meeting. Okay, thank you. Again, with the signage that's going to be placed on the building and the long blade sign, you said that those are not visible from the road, correct?
No, they're about 1,000 feet back.
And
Yep.
behind trees, shrubs.
Yeah, if you go
berm,
down the
what-
driveway, it's trees and you really can't see it until you're in the parking lot.
Okay, so they're not for advertising, correct?
No, not at all. Just
It's
for
more wayfinding.
wayfinding, identify the building, and then internal customers and employees are the only people that can see it. It's not easy to get past the guardhouse.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Laura, you still looking that up?
It's possible it conflicts because that is, that's referencing the general sign code 220-22. So sometimes the general sign code will actually conflict with the sign.
It was specifically under the schedule I,
That's what I was just
Yep.
looking in the schedule. Yeah.
column 7. That's where I was reading that. So I want to have that confirmed.
Yeah, you're completely right. That's calling out double face signs are permitted. So I don't know if that's a typo or not. I could double check, but he's actually,
Both of our freestanding signs are single-sided.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't actually, he put the entire section of code in here, but I don't even think that's one of the ones that they're asking for a variance. So that may be a typo.
Okay.
So we can fix that. Under the schedule for IR research and development for the permitted use of research, experimental and testing laboratories and light manufacturing. The very last sentence says double face signs are permitted.
Okay, but notwithstanding, thank you for clarifying that. It seems that the applicant is only looking for a single-sided
Correct.
sign facing the road.
Yep, parallel to the road, and then the blade is parallel to the building.
Thank you.
Anything further from anyone?
Yeah, just a couple quick question and welcome back. We've seen you, like Mr. Hoke said, a lot here
Hey.
lately. You said the sign is about 1,000 feet away from the road. And you mentioned you're going downhill and then you see the sign once you're on campus?
Correct. If you turn in, stop at the guardhouse, past the guardhouse, it's roughly 1,000 feet to the building.
Mhm. So when a guest or somebody's looking for that building, once they get inside, they'll be able to see what building they're going to.
Once they're into that parking lot, they'll see the fan blade first. And then once they get in front of the building, they'll see the letters on the building.
And these building has been there for many years. They didn't have signs on them?
As far as I know, they've had nothing on them.
Okay. So this came about to help people to find these buildings and so on, right?
Correct. Vernova's branding everything nationwide,
Okay.
working on wayfinding and identifying buildings that have not been identified.
Okay. And the last question, I know we already mentioned that you can't see these from the road. Even if they lit, you still can't see them at night?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, anybody else have any other questions? Is there any members of the public that wish to be heard for or against this application? Having heard no one further, is there anybody that wishes to make a motion relative to this application?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I find that the benefit cannot be achieved by other means, that the wayfinding on a complex campus actually does require some signage. I'd also note that this is a unique situation in that we're dealing with a corporate campus that was built for one company and now has multiple companies, and a sign telling you which way to go to which. Pretty reasonable. I don't find this is an undesirable change in the neighborhood. It's a corporate campus. This is in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. I do find that this is substantial, but there's no environmental impact. And while I do find this is self-created, I don't necessarily find that determinative. And on the whole, I would vote to approve all of the variances as requested.
A motion's been made. Is there a second to that motion?
Seconded.
A motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Kenny, we call the roll, please.
Mr. Latif?
Yes, for reasons stated.
Mr. Dolman?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Ms. Pacheco?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Trimarchi?
Yes.
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. Antonikowski?
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Chairperson Hoke?
Yes, for the reasons stated. Your variance request has been approved.
Thank you very much.
You know, you don't have to do these like one at a time. You could put a whole bunch of signs in at once.
Yeah. I think
See you next month.
I don't know if this
Appeal by Ian Callahan for a variance from section 220-18B2 of the zoning ordinance of the town of Niskiuna as it applies to the property at 1537 Wyoming Avenue, Niskiuna, New York, located in the R2 medium density zoning, residential zoning district, to install a hot tub exceeding the number of accessory structures allowed. Section 220-18B2 states that there shall not be more than 3 accessory structures on a lot. Currently, the property has 3 pre-existing accessory structures, a fence, a gazebo, and a garage. As proposed, the hot tub would be the 4th accessory structure. Therefore, a variance for 1 additional accessory structure is required. 12 notices were mailed, 1 response.
So this was actually a voice message, not a written response, but I'm going to read it because it's relevant. This is Barbara Runkle at 1544 Wyoming Ave. I am just voicing my opinion on the 1537 Wyoming Avenue for the zoning ordinance. I approve. I am fine with the accessory structure. She did give her name, phone number, and contact information, which I will not read into the record, and then said thank you.
Sir, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, my name is Ian Callahan at 1537 Wyoming Ave.
Okay, sir. So I see, obviously your application, you're looking for the additional accessory structure in the backyard. Can you take us through what you're using the garage for and the gazebo currently?
Yeah, so I have a detached garage. It's mainly just storage. I have a screened-in gazebo that it's really just for like hanging out. And then I have a fence just to keep everything in the yard.
And are all of the other accessory structures currently in good condition?
Yes, they are.
You're using all of them currently?
I am.
Are there other questions from members of the board?
Yeah, a couple of questions. Where are you putting the hot tub in the backyard? And do you have, I know we have a letter from one neighbor. Do you have neighbor? Is it visible to other people?
Yeah, good question. So I submitted 2 letters in the appeal. I have a fence around my yard as well as a vegetative screen on both sides with like large bushes and trees. And the hot tub would be located behind the house, so it's not visible from the street or from any neighbors. So that's like that's a big part for me. I don't want to be seen in the hot tub, and I also don't want people to be able to see it from the street.
Okay, so it's not visible to anybody. And what's your fence, 4 feet or 6 feet in the back?
I submitted a permit a couple of years ago to have the fence extended. There was an existing 6-foot section and I extended 4 feet.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just so for the hot tub itself, I I see a concrete slab indicated on the illustration you provided. Is that going to be a new structure?
So there's an existing concrete slab, but it'll need to be extended to accommodate the hot tub.
And the hot tub will go in that. So
Correct.
in what direction will it be extended?
Towards the rear of the property, towards the rear property line.
Okay, not towards the adjacent property?
Correct.
Okay. And how far is the adjacent property from the hot tub itself?
There's like my house, and then there's like an 8-foot section of fence. So the hot tub is going to be at least a foot inside of the outside of the concrete. So it'd be like at least 9-10 feet.
Okay. And can you tell me how far the adjacent house is on that side from the property line?
It's probably about 10 feet from the property line.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions, members on the board?
Just as a clarification, it is the slab and it is the hot tub, and then there's no superstructure or anything above that. So the total height of this thing is 4-ish feet off the ground.
Correct. Nothing crazy, like no covering or anything. No, like,
Vines,
crazy
trellises,
structures or anything
shading,
like that.
whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And just one more question regarding drainage for the hot tub. In which direction is that going to be drained?
Towards the rear of the property, far from the property lines.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Having heard no other questions, are there any members of the public that wish to be heard for or against this application? Having heard no members of the public come forward, is there any member of the board that wishes to make a motion relative to this application?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the hot tub. And just reflecting back on years of being on the board, that a lot of times these hot tub, we approve them in this kind of situations. And it seems to be the neighbor has provided positive that they don't mind that they're gonna have the tub. I don't see any undesirable change to the neighborhood. I don't see it as substantial. Again, it's in the backyard and it seems like it fits where he wants it. And the difficulty, as we do know on the zoning, we only allow 3. So this is number 4, but from the past that we usually allow for all these reasons, I'm gonna say yes for this applicant.
The motion's been made. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Kenny, we call the roll, please.
Mr. Latif?
Yes.
Mr. Dolman?
Yes.
Ms. Pacheco?
Yes.
Mr. Trimarchi?
Yes.
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Mr. Antonikowski?
Yes.
Chairperson Hoke?
Yes. Your application. Luck with the hot tub.
Thank you very much. Just out of curiosity, what's like the next step from here?
Ms. Robertson would be the person to talk to, and she'll give you, let you know.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Last matter, Mr. Kenny.
Appeal by Devendra Rupnarine for a variance from section 220-25B1A of the zoning ordinance of the town of Niskuna as it applies to the property at 1817 Providence Ave, Niskuna, New York, located in the R2 medium density residential zoning district, to maintain a 6-foot fence exceeding the height allowed in the side yard. Fence section 220-25B1A permits the maximum height for fences located in the front and side yards to be 4 feet. As constructed, a 6-foot high fence is located in the side yard. Therefore, a 2-foot fence height variance is required. 6 notices were mailed, 0 responses.
State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Devendra Rupnarine, 1817 Providence Ave, Niskuna.
So, Laura, can you make that larger on the screen by any chance? That's good enough. Sir, I'm a little confused. Where's that new pointer we got there? Mr. Kitty, when you whip out that pointer? It's be good for the. Got a new toy, so we're gonna use that here tonight. Hopefully, maybe. We don't have batteries for it though.
Can she explain that drawing?
She can come up, sure. Why don't you just state your name and address for the record as well?
Good evening. My name is Basmati Gangadan, and I'm spouse of Devendra.
Okay, living at
1817 Providence Ave, yes.
Okay, we're just trying to, okay, so, well, we're not gonna wait for the pointer, I guess.
Sure.
I don't wanna hold things up here. If a pointer becomes active, we'll give it to you, but I guess my question is, can you just explain where the existing fence is right now on that diagram?
Yes. So where do you say it says fence? And there's 40 feet. So 1817 Providence Ave, where it's labeled public access, the fence is on your left. On your left.
Okay, at that point of the house. and
Yes, 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 right there.
The house.
In
and
the
then
side.
apparently- Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. Correct. Because if you're, so, sorry, but if you're to stand, wait, sorry,
Well,
if, yeah, so 6 feet, yeah, 6 feet, if you're to look at it, yes, it's 6 feet. But if you're standing in our property, it technically looks like 4 feet. But no, my property is kind of high. Yes, yes. So a 4 feet fence would technically look like a 2 feet from our property, if that makes sense. Inside of our
Inside.
property, yeah. That protects everything inside of the property. This fence has been there since 2020. 2019, yes. The fence was a replacement of a existing fence. A chain link fence. Yeah, that we weren't sure of.
This is the high.
Yeah, 6 feet. Yeah.
know that you had to apply for a permit for the fence?
At that moment, no, because we had just moved there.
Yeah, it was, the construction was noticed internally by the building department, and then we researched it. Do you know that, Linda?
Just noticed that it was.
Just noticed the fence was built.
Yeah, after 5 years.
What? So now you know that you need a permit, and that's why we're here.
And
right?
yeah, and then we did when officer came, we applied for the permit, they denied the permit, so here we are. So I've stated the reasons in the appeal. I'm not sure if you guys have a copy of it. Okay, there's a couple of reasons. So our driveway, we currently have a business as well, and the business entails equipments, party rentals. We have lost equipment in 2021. And I have 2 younger kids as well. On the left side, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, there's a rehab center. It's called Pathways Rehab Center. So the town considers that a private business, but it is accessible to the public because all hours of the night, you could hear, noises, cars are going during the day. And I have my 2 kids also. So privacy protection, that's one. Actually, that's the main one.
So
Correct, correct. Very active, yes. Yes, and we have installed cameras as well on our property. And there are many instances in the night where people, instead of walking on the road, they would cut through our front yard. Correct, from the road. So it's not blocking any view coming, if you're coming from the private driveway of pathways, it's not blocking any view to the public road. No, because my neighbors also have 6 feet fence opposite.
I think Tom looked and the fences were off the rear of the house. So they were code compliant fences.
what? Fence and replacing an existing fence with the previous fence deteriorating?
Definitely, and it definitely would have depreciate the value of that property. Being it's such a, I won't say unique, but it's a property as soon as as soon as you enter the tongue of Niskayuna, that's like it's right there. Coming from Schenectady direction, yes. Okay.
Looking at the picture online,
Mhm.
and the fence does look lower.
Correct.
Now, you mentioned that your property is higher. How high is it inside the fence?
So
What was that, like
28
inches?
Inches?
Yeah.
28 inches.
Yeah.
So if you are on the inside of your property, standing there, the fence is under 4 feet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And also, can I mention something?
Yes, please do.
So from the pictures that you're looking or you would see,
Is
the
it, by the way, is it the white fence?
it is, yes, the white
Just
fence.
wanna-
Yes. So the front of the property from the
Yeah,
public
that-
road, that's the one. Yes, that's it. So where the front yard, you
Mhm.
see, I don't know if you can see, but there's a slope kind of
Yeah.
going down. So our yard inside, it's a little more higher. So it will look like 6 feet from the public eye, but inside of it, it's, it's 4. If you're looking at it there.
So since we have this picture right there, what's it take to move this fence a little back? What do you have inside of that fence? Looks like you have a pool there?
That's a that
That's an empty
pool, yeah,
Just
that-
put it up to clean it.
All right, so what do you have behind that fence there?
that's just yard.
And how big of a yard do you have behind the house?
So, okay, so let me rephrase that. There's where the fence ends to the right, actually the beginning of the fence to the house. There's, what do you call those things so water doesn't get into your basement? Where you
Oh,
put
you
a
have
rung.
French
No.
drains.
No, it's like a concrete structure around the house, so water doesn't seep in your
Okay,
your basement. So nothing can go back farther than that because it starts from where the gutter is right there. You can see the gutters are right there. A little more to your right. Yes. So right there.
that's the goal. That fence, the front of that fence, if you move it to the back of the house, what would happen if you? moved
Yeah,
it?
there
Do you
would
have
be
any
there would be a
doors?
gap. Yeah, there would be a gap because there's not it cannot push back because there's a concrete I won't say structure, but there's a concrete foundation on the ground. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That was there. Because that's a low, again, it's a low level area, I guess. Just because how we are positioned on Providence Ave, from on top of Providence Ave, all their water drains into our yard. And there's a drainage where that stop sign is. That signage there, yes. There's a drainage that should go under the driveway of Pathways. Unfortunately, the water seeps into our property. Yeah.
But the water issue is not.
No, so no, that's why I was saying the concrete the concrete foundation is what protects the basement of the house. Yes.
Thank you.
So in this picture, where is your front door?
The house, it's kind of situated very right there.
Oh,
Yes.
I knew that. I just wanted to make.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
yeah, it
It's
seems
kind of like a
it's-
L shape.
It's, if you walk out your front door, you're gonna walk into that vehicle or that truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We
you
can look
pass
at
the
that too.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's our
good.
driveway
Okay.
there.
Thank you.
Correct.
Thank you.
So we don't have a backyard per se. We have a side yard. So the kids, that's where they play. If you could zoom up, you'll also see a little play thing there that they have.
Mr. Chairman, just a question to Laura. Laura, is this property, it looks like the side of it, so they don't have really, how is the backyard considered to, because it looks like the door is in the driveway to the front. Hold on one second.
Yeah, but for purposes of calculating this front and side yard, the front of the house, even though it doesn't have the door, is what you're looking
Okay,
at
so the
there.
front, is that where that window?
Right, and it's actually not a corner lot, because even though that's a huge driveway that goes back to Pathways, it's privately owned. So they would have the normal front yard from that facade of the house face forward, and then it's side yard on both sides.
But it looked like to me, it looked like a unique property because it's usually the doors in the front to be considered the front. The back is-
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Lou.
Are there other questions? Are there any members of the public that wish to be heard for or against this application? Having heard no members of the public come forward, is there any member of the board that wishes to be heard on a motion relative to this application?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, Mr.
The applicant has no way of knowing this, but 6-foot fences are rough around here. So that being said, I think we have to be extra diligent in approving any 6-foot fences. So I find that the benefit cannot be achieved by other means because this property has a unique position relative to a public, what is de facto, if not de jure, a public right-of-way, which gives them an increased need for physical security. I don't think that I'm very familiar with this neighborhood. I run by it all the time. And I don't find that this would be an undesirable change in the neighborhood in this particular case. I do think all 6-foot variances, especially since we're talking about what is a front yard, are substantial. There's no reason to believe this is going to have an environmental impact. And I actually don't believe that this is self-created in that this is a unique property. And the driving factor is the traffic on a road they have no control of. So on the balance, I would move to approve the variance as requested.
Thank you.
A motion's been made. Is there a second to that motion?
Seconded?
Motion's been made and seconded. Mr. Kenny, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Latif?
As Mr. Dolman said, this is a unique property and Unfortunately, it's been over 5 years since this fence has been there and just came to our attention. And to me, it looks like, it does look like a 4 feet fence because again, of the uniqueness of the properties. For all these reasons stated before, I'm going to vote yes.
Mr. Dolman,
Yes, for the reasons already stated.
Ms. Pacheco,
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Mr. Trimarchi,
Yes.
Mr. Gentile,
I'm going to vote yes, recognizing that when this was going on, you still had COVID-related disruption to the normal function of things that might have been in the way of the normal permitting process. And also the uniqueness of the lot, I don't think anybody can tell the height of this fence from where it is and the vantage points available to general public. So voting yes.
Mr. Antonikowski,
Yes, for the reasons stated.
Chairperson Hoke.
Yes, and I'll just say that generally, the fence has been there for 5 years. We also don't want to penalize anybody who is seeking to benefit their property or increase the look of the neighborhood by moving an old dilapidated fence and installing it. Even though it wasn't done in the proper format, that there is a benefit to the community by this. We don't want to penalize anybody under these circumstances with the additional uniqueness of the property, penalize somebody for that. So I vote yes.
Thank you.
Your variance has been granted.
Okay. Do we have to do anything
I don't
else
think you have to do anything else.
You come talk to building department.
tomorrow? All right, thank you.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
Take care. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
There's no discussion or anything further before the board. I move to adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.
In favor? Aye.
Oh.
Thanks, Peter.
Good job there.